Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to talk about the A7VU. The A7VU was a German copy of a British World War I tank. After the first encounter with British tanks on September 15, 1916, the German War Ministry formed a committee, the Allgemeines Kriegsdepartement Abteilung 7 Verkehrswesen. This new committee was tasked with building tanks, and work soon began on building the first tank. In March 1917, the OHL requested a German copy of the British Mark tank to be built. On April 5, 1917, the first A7V prototype was ready. On April 11th, the Germans captured the British Mark II tank. Quartermaster General Erich Ludendorff would inspect the newly captured tank as well as the A7V prototype in the coming weeks. Erich Ludendorff was more impressed by the British Wombat design than the A7V's boxy design and ordered a German Wombat tank in mid-1917. The Allgemeines Kriegsdepartement Abteilung 7 Verkehrswesen was pretty much given free rein to design the tank. The only requirement was that it had to be a Wombat-shaped tank. So they now had to design a new tank but utilize as many of the original A7V components as possible. The project was given Uberlandwagen chassis number 524. It was Joseph Vollmer who was tasked with designing the vehicle, the same guy who had designed the A7V. Neither he nor the A7V department liked the concept of a Wombat tank, but they still had to design it. Joseph Vollmer decided not to move the engines, transmission, fuel tanks and lower suspension, but the driver and commander seats were moved forward to the frontal hull plate. The two sponsons were located next to the engines, and the upper conning tower with machine gun mounts was located above the two fuel tanks. Vollmer made four versions of the tank. Those were the A7VU1. This was the normal A7VU with two sponsons with a cannon in each. The conning tower was only used for observing and the tank had no machine guns. The A7VU2 looked like the A7VU1 but had machine guns in some of the apertures in the conning tower and had additional machine gun mounts in the rear of the hull and in the rear sponson doors. The A7VU3 had no conning tower and the sponsons were smaller, only housing machine guns, and the main gun was mounted on the front left side next to the driver. The A7VU4 was a female tank without the main gun. It had small gun sponsons for machine guns and had a small conning tower with 4 machine gun apertures. It was the A7VU1 they decided to go with. Now we will look at its design. The A7VU had 68 track links connected by track pins. The track width was 52 centimeters. The track had 4.35 meters of ground contact. The 30-wheel suspension was divided into 23 road wheels and 7 return rollers. The 23 road wheels were divided into 5 bogies with 12 cylindrical coil springs, 4 on the bogie in the middle and 2 on the other bogies. The drive sprocket wheel was located at the rear with the idler wheel in the front. The drive sprocket wheel is connected to the gearbox at the rear. The A7VU had an Adler gearbox with 3 speeds. It was arranged so that the vehicle didn't have a reverse gear as such. You could just change it over to reverse and have 3 gears reverse, and change it back so you would have 3 gears forward. Contained within a large casing, the final drive was so low at the rear of the tank, which resulted in a 20 cm ground clearance. The transmission is connected to the 2 engines in the middle. The 2 centrally mounted engines were Daimler Type 165-204 4-stroke petrol engines, each producing 75 kW, 101 horsepower at 850 revolutions per minute. The engine could be started with a crank from the inside or with an electric starter. The 2 radiators were located in front of and behind the engines. In front of the engines were 2 250-liter fuel tanks. The A7VU used approximately 10 liters of gasoline per kilometer on the road and 20 kilometers per liter off-road. The armor was riveted together. The armor plates were provided by Rosling. The tank's armor thickness was 30 mm at the front. It was sloped at 50 degrees, giving the tank an effective thickness of 63 mm, 20 mm at the sides and rear, as well as on the conning tower, and 10 mm on the roof. The main armament consisted of 2 quick-firing 5.7 cm Maxim Nordenfeldt cannons, with a muzzle velocity of 487 meters per second. The gun's fire rate was 12 rounds per minute. The gun could penetrate 20 mm of armor at a range of 1 kilometer. The gun's elevation was 55 degrees in both directions and plus 20 upwards. The gun's effective firing range was 2.7 kilometers. The gun's maximum range was 6.4 kilometers. It was mounted in a Sockel-Lafette mount, later also adopted by the A7V. It was big and hard to operate, but good at longer ranges. Here we see the gun. The hand wheel with the handle is for horizontal aiming, and the one behind is for elevating the gun. This gun also received Stjernfernrohr optical sights from the CP Görs Optical Institute in Berlin. The sights had a 4 km range and had a 3.5x zoom. The tank likely carried 180 shells, of which 90 were canister, 54 were armor piercing, and 36 were high explosive. The shells weighed 2.7 kilograms each. An armored box was mounted below the rear ventilation louver, where 2 towing hooks were installed on each side. The ventilation louvers were located on top of and behind the conning tower and at the rear. Each ventilation louver had 9 slits. We are not sure how many slits the louver on top of the conning tower had. Since it was only used for testing, it never had a full crew. But if it should have had one, it might have looked something like this. 6 gunners for the 2 guns. At the gun commander would have sat next to the gun, looking out of the flaps or vision slits directing the gunner where to shoot. The gunner sat on a chair connected to the left side of the gun, using the Görs sight for aiming. The loader might have stood inside the tank loading the gun with ammunition. The tank commander, typically a second lieutenant, sat on the front right. The commander could only look forward, which was a big disadvantage. The driver, likely a senior corporal, sat to the front left. His view was a little better, because a vision slit was added on his left side. Some observers were observing the ground in the conning tower and at the rear for the commander. There might also have been a few mechanics and runners on board. If it should have been used in combat, machine guns might have been added, so the crew was likely 12 plus men. The A7VU had a length of 8.38 meters, a height of 3.2 meters, and a width of 4.69 meters. It weighed 39.8 metric tons and had a speed of 14 km per hour on roads and 5 km per hour cross country, and the tank had a range of 32 kilometers. The tank could cross trenches of up to 3 meters in width. Now to the companies. Development and production of the transmission was Adler in Frankfurt. Development and production of the engine was Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft in Berlin. Assembly of finished chassis was also Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft in Berlin. Development of armor plates was Rosling in Dillingen. Assembly of control mechanisms was Steffensen Nølle in Berlin Tempelhof. Assembly of armor was also Steffensen Nølle in Berlin Tempelhof. Main gun and machine guns, weapons workshop in Spandau. Production of tracks and drive wheels was Caterpillar Holt in Budapest. Radiators was Motorenfabrik in Oberrosel, and the carburetor and electrical equipment was Bosch in Stuttgart. The conning tower had 6 vision ports, 2 on the front and rear, and 2 on each side. There were also 2 vision ports for the commander and driver in the front. The driver also had a vision port to his left. A machine gun aperture, used for observation, were located on each side. There was also a vision port looking out from the sponsons, as well as on the door behind the sponsons. The door was located at the front right side of the tank. There was also what seems to be an escape hatch on the rear ventilation louver. Just like the normal A7V, this tank was also named in honor of the department that created it. The Allgemeines Kriegsdepartement Abteilung 7 Verkehrswesen, A7V. And to avoid having 2 tanks with the same name, this A7V received the name A7VU, U meaning umlaufende Ketten, which means circulating tracks. It was also referred to as the Sturmpanzerwagen A7VU. On May 5, 1917, the Verkehrstechnische Prüfungskommission, VPK for short, ordered an A7VU prototype. The VPK expected the tank to be ready for testing by September 1, 1917. However, this deadline could not be met. Technical difficulties and problems with the procurement of materials delayed the production of the prototype. On December 19, 1917, a captured Mark IV was demonstrated to the people helping with the design, which likely made the process easier and quicker. It was first in the spring of 1918 that the prototype was partially ready. Here we see the tank in the spring of 1918 next to Oberlandwagen chassis number 523. Here we see it some weeks later, now with the suspension installed. It was only in May 1918 that the prototype became ready for its first tests. Here we see the partially finished prototype outside the Daimler factory in May 1918. Here we get a closer look of the engine. This picture was taken at the same place as the previous one. Here we see it out on its first tests on May 24th, 1918. Note the WG24 painted on the side. Here we also see it out on the test track, probably on May 24th. After the tests in May, the tank was sent to the Steffens & Noelle plant in Berlin-Tempelhof, where the side sponsons and conning tower would be installed. Here we see the finished tank at the Steffens & Noelle plant in June 1918. On June 25th, the final A7VU prototype was tested at the Berlin Marienfelde test track, seen here, and here with two officers in front of the tank. In the second half of 1918, the Entente powers began relying more and more on their tanks, and first there did the German High Command begin to see that the tank, if used correctly, could be one of the best weapons on the battlefield. So they made a new plan for 1919, according to which Germany was to produce 4,000 light tanks and 400 heavy tanks, of which 240 of them should be the A7VU, though no order had yet been given. Here we see the tank with some officers at the Steffens & Noelle plant in July or August 1918. Here we see the tank in the second half of 1918, probably on the Berlin Marienfelde test track. Here we see the tank on the test track, likely in July or August 1918. Note that the tank number has been painted on the rear. Here we see the tank at the Steffens & Noelle plant in the summer or autumn of 1918. On September 12th, the headquarters ordered that work on the project was to be stopped, and the prototype was transferred to the Berlin-based tank driving school of the Guard Motor Vehicle Battalion and ultimately scrapped.